Alrighty then. Twitch. I almost said YouTube. Welcome back. We're here with more Death Battle. Yippee. So, first things first. Some news on Death Battle itself. Death Battle has been having a very successful Kickstarter campaign to sort of get themselves back on their feet since they are now independently owned. The Kickstarter was a huge success. They met their goal of $75,000 within 21 minutes, I think. So that's great. And they're currently sitting at about, 560,000 last I checked. So they're doing pretty well, but we can go even higher. The more money we raise, the more episodes they get to make. We've seen they've already shown off some animation for a few of the ones that they've been working on. So we've seen animation for it was for Omni-Man versus Bardock, Bowser versus Dr. Eggman, and Kratos versus Asura, and they all look fantastic. And we know through the stretch goal rewards that a couple of the other episodes they're planning to do, like Ash versus Yugi, that's the big one I'm excited for personally. We have Ruby versus Maka, they're finally going to do. Simone the Digger versus the White Lantern is another long time request that they're going to be doing. It's great all around, but there's even more stretch goals that we can reach. So if you haven't already, consider donating just a small amount. It doesn't have to be much, but every little bit helps. And to celebrate the raucous success, we are here, of course, with more Death Battle watching. Let's see. We were in the middle of Season 9. Here's your spoiler warning, by the way. Yes, exactly. Over the course of me streaming this, we have seen Death Battle fall through Rooster Teeth getting shut down, and now seeing them rise back up through their independent ownership. Yeah, and they raised $500,000 in less than 2 days, which is insane. And yeah, I'm seeing some of the previews for stuff they're working on. It's going to be amazing. But anyway, on to the stuff that they currently have out. Season 9, Boba Fett versus Predator.
This episode is sponsored by Mint Mobile and HelloFresh.
This episode is sponsored by Mint Mobile and HelloFresh.
Boba Fett, the greatest bounty hunter from a galaxy far, far
This is
away.
And the Predator,
interesting
the monstrous manslayer
one.
from beyond the stars.
There's nothing quite like the thrill of the hunt.
They've had Boba
especially
Fett
when you're
on
chasing
before.
that
He
most
was
dangerous
in the
game.
first
Not humans,
episode.
We're tugging face-hugging aliens and space wizards. He's whizzing out.
And then they brought him
And
back
it's
when
our
they
job to analyze their
remastered
weapons,
that
armor, and
episode.
skills to find out who would
But I
win
think
a
after
death
8
battle.
seasons, he's definitely due for a reanalysis.
Throughout the galaxy, few names are as feared as Boba Fett.
When you've got the greatest army of all time cloned after you're dead, that's no big surprise.
In an incredibly convoluted bid to wrest control of the Galactic Republic, the Sith Lords
Yeet.
Darth Sidious and Tyrannus secretly organized the construction of a clone army based on the genetic code of the galaxy's greatest bounty hunter at the time, Jango Fett.
On one condition, Django Unchained got to keep one unaltered clone as his son,
I think
Boba,
Django
who became
calls
a
him
cute little
Boba
murderer just like his pop.
once or twice.
That is, until Django let it get to his head.
Just as
No, I think
headstrong
he's
as
mentioned
his
in
father,
episode
Boba
6
swore vengeance on the Jedi and devoted
by
his life to
name.
becoming as deadly an assassin as his forebears.
Yeah, cause the Fets aren't just random badasses. They're
'Cause, like,
Mandalorians.
Han talks with
Basically
Chewie
a
about
society
it.
completely dedicated to the art of war. Most of the time.
Indeed. In the galaxy's past, Mandalorians have waged war against the Jedi and easily held their own, despite lacking use of the Force.
And what's a self-respecting Mandalorian without his Mandalorian armor? Inherited from his dad, Fett's armor is made out of Beskar.
Also known as Mandalorian iron, Beskar is one of the strongest
Wow,
materials
Boba
in the
Fett fell into
galaxy,
that pit
tough
and
enough
is
to
dead
resist thermal
forever.
detonator blasts and lightsaber strikes. Even bolts of lightning that can vaporize people aren't enough to harm the armor itself.
Fett's helmet has a targeting system, lets him see in infrared, and even has 360
Oh yeah, and also The
degree
Mandalorian had
And
come
his
out
wrist-mounted
by
vent
this
braces,
point,
designed
so
to counteract the Force user's powers, come with a variety
that's
of
there.
indispensable tools, like a flamethrower, fiber cord whip, mini concussion rocket, laser beam, and forearm blades.
But when Fett wants to take his opponent by surprise, he breaks out the kneecap rockets. Not since the butt machine guns has Death Battle
As
weapons
determined
so devious.
in Mega
As
Man
a
vs.
living
Astro
Swiss Army
Boy.
gun, Fett prefers long-range combat.
So it helps to have a jetpack for quick getaways, especially one with a rocket that can nuke small spacecrafts. He also has his trusty EE-3 carbine rifle and blaster pistol, which is powerful enough to vaporize a dude in one shot.
But should an opponent get too close for comfort, or should his jetpack inevitably malfunction, Fett can reacquaint his victims with their maker with his Gatterfy stick, handcrafted by Fett himself as part of a Tusken rite of passage. Kind of like how Jedi make their lightsabers.
Add in your classic flash
It's
bombs,
a
sonic
stick.
bombs, gas bombs, motion sensor bombs, and the uber-powerful thermal detonators, and Fetty's basically a one-man army.
Fetty,
Thermal detonators
Boba
can
Fetty
annihilate
Wap.
small buildings and even this giant stone bridge. Based on its size and the number of bombs used, each one should be packing around 3.5 tons of TNT.
But his weapons aren't all that make Fett so deadly. He's a master marksman, hand-to-hand fighter, and tactician. He'd need to be to take on the Jedi and steal their sweet, sweet laser swords for himself.
He outsmarted the Jedi Master Mace Windu as just a child, and we know he's fought multiple Jedi after the Purge. In the old Legends timeline, he even fought Darth Vader twice, the same Vader who can dogfight at near light speed.
That's why
Damn.
he's decked out with all those tools to distract and confuse Jedi and their space magic long enough to get a clean kill.
And while he has a professional code of honor, when it comes to combat, Fett will use any underhanded tactics he can think of, perfect for fighting honorable Jedi. As my personal hero once said, silly Jedi. If only he was here right now to kill all these stupid meatbags.
His Jonathan's feats, he can lift the
That's
rock.
probably not good.
Boba can crumple
I
steel
don't
doors
think
with
so. I don't
ease,
think they had a
outrace
lifting
explosions
feat
with
for
his jetpack,
Jonathan.
And was shot through the chest and just walked it off. He was, and I quote, very angry about it. Not even the Sarlacc, the giant monster space vagina itself, was able to hold him, no matter the continuity.
Even into middle age, Boba remained a force to be reckoned with. In
Ah.
the older timeline, he led the Mandalorians to victory in the Yuzon Vong War, and even trained the Jedi Jaina Solo to defeat her brother, who just so happened to be a Dark Lord of the Sith. I guess even Boba was able to overcome his anti-Jedi prejudices.
And then Disney axed all that. But who gives a shit when you're sitting pretty on Jabba's throne like an absolute pimp? Or like a panther?
He even managed to defeat Cad Bane in a duel, possibly the greatest bounty hunter the galaxy had ever seen up until that point.
Second greatest now is, and look at that dodge, channeling some of that Han shot first energy I see.
So if you ever find yourself in Fett's crosshairs, don't bother running. You'll only die tired.
Man, what?
This episode of Death Battle
Oh,
is
Mint
sponsored
Mobile.
by
I do not care.
Whether you're
15. The year was 1987. In the balmy jungles of Central America, an elite American Spec Ops unit would come into conflict with Soviet-backed insurgents. Their mission was a success, but little did they know, they were the ones being hunted.
It was almost as if the jungle itself was killing him. But in reality, it was a traveler from beyond the stars, a superhuman killing machine whose entire life was devoted to murder.
This was a predator, and these men were its prey.
And this alien hunter had more than enough gnarly gadgets to take Arnie and his
Predator.
crew down, like the plasma caster, a shoulder-mounted laser cannon.
Predator
It
is
has
such
a
like
tracking
a
system connected to the Predator's
So
biohelmet,
cool.
which allows him to see
It's-
in X-ray, UV, and
it's a
night
bit
vision. This is on top of the Predator's
misleading
own
to call the
unique way of
Predator
seeing through natural
a
infrared
character.
sight. Essentially, he
They'll get
tracks
into it.
individuals by recognizing differences in heat signatures.
Too bad
But it's
humans
more
can't
like
do the same,
a
since
race
the
of
Predator's full-body light-bending
superpowered
camouflage
alien
makes him
hunters.
invisible to the naked human eye, letting him blend into the shadows and pick off his prey one by one.
But as ruthless as that sounds, the Predator is actually an honorable fighter who relishes the chance to fight up close and personal with his iconic wrist blades.
And guess what? For as bad as this one Predator was, this dude wasn't even that special. In fact, he was actually kind of a noob. There's a whole planet of these
Lol.
guys.
These are the Yautja. Yautja? Yaucha? Yautja? They never actually say it in the movies.
Yautja.
Yautja society is based around one thing.
Based?
Hunting. The bigger and deadlier the game, the more honor slaying it brings.
Which is why the Predators take on muscly 80s action heroes for breakfast.
Just
Yamcha.
one failed hunt forever dooms a Yautja to humiliation or death. And since Yautja lifespans can last hundreds of years, that would mean that Elder Hunters have centuries of combat experience and have never been defeated. They have literally kept winning for hundreds of years.
And this is the kind of Predator we're looking at today. The only way to become a fully
Yeah,
independent
so
hunter, a blooded
there
hunter,
isn't
is
a
to slay
single,
their
like,
equally dangerous
main
rivals, the
Predator
Xenomorph
character,
with bulletproof skin, acid
so to
blood,
speak.
and retractable penis
So
mouth. These
this is
aliens
like
are
a
dangerous enough to take down
composite
even the best Yautja
Predator.
hunters.
Which is why
In
they
a
carry
sense.
a greatly diversified arsenal compared
Which
to
some,
the original Jungle Hunter. These
Predator
more
fans
exotic weapons are earned over the course
weren't,
of numerous
like,
successful hunts
too
and are
fond
proof
of,
a Yautja's mastery and experience. Like the
'cause there
retractable
are,
combi
like,
sticks, net guns, and controllable
different
smart discs that
tribes
vibrate at
of them
supersonic speeds.
that have
Allowing
different
them to
skill
kill their
sets and
ultimate, equally dangerous rival,
serve different
Gary
roles.
Busey.
They even carry a portable EMP that will disrupt all electronic devices in the vicinity, forcing their prey to
That,
fight
like,
them
I
on
mean,
their
it
terms.
makes the fight
Which is
cool.
when they break
I don't
out
care.
their plasma scythe, made of messed up evil laser energy.
This dark plasma the scythe emits cannot be stopped by conventional matter. Instead of merely cutting a target, its energy passes through their body, ensuring their victim will die in as little as 4 hits.
Even without his
Damn.
arsenal, the Predator is a literal beast. He's strong enough to tear through 2 inches of steel like it was tissue paper, casually invent the first Mortal Kombat fatality, and give Mother Nature the finger. Lions, tigers, and bears? Oh shit!
It helps that Yautja armor is plasma forged, making it incredibly durable.
The Predator is tough enough to tank huge gas explosions and fast enough to dodge laser beams.
But even if a Predator is defeated, he is expected to perform one final rite, activating a countdown to a nuclear explosion that vaporizes everything within 300 city blocks. Based on the size of that blast, this would be exploding with 15 times the energy as the atomic
Famous
bomb dropped on Hiroshima.
self-destruct.
So when a Pred wants you dead, there's no escape. Not even an army of xenomorphs and their queen are enough to take the toughest predators down. When even Arnold
this is-
fucking Schwarzenegger
this is something
shits
that
his pants in your
people
very
also
presence, you know you're as
took
badass as they come.
took
A
issue with.
goddamn
The self-destruct
sexual
isn't like
Tyrannosaurus.
supposed to be some sort of last-ditch attack. It's
This
supposed to
episode is
be
sponsored
like
by
the
Health
Predator
Versus 30
erasing
says more
all
than better
evidence
at
of their
Battlefield
fight
3.
should they lose, and the countdown is so
All
that
right,
their
the combatants
opponent
are
does have
set.
time
We've
to
run
get
the data
away.
through all possibilities.
So
time for
it's not
Red
quite an
Battle!
attack, so to speak. Anyway, fight time. I love the atmosphere in this one. It's obvious, but it fits well. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, it's like a similar reason for with the Predator. They hit his jetpack. No one expects the knee rockets. Well, let me see if I can turn up the quality a bit, as to not completely have the bitrate poop itself.
You're mine.
That's cool. The Predator playing back Fett's recorded voice.
Amateur.
Ah, and Fett cauterizing his wound with a lightsaber.
You are one ugly motherfucker.
And the reference to the famous line. Gotta have it. What? You were about to swing. He was right there.
I'll be taking this. Fools.
Oh, that's it.
Man, Boba was always a one-man
I
army,
wouldn't say it's bad, but I think this is definitely the weakest of the season thus far.
Allowed him to survive this hunt.
While
terms of
Boba could
fights.
crumble steel, the Predator could easily tear straight
just
through
there
it,
wasn't-
making him the stronger of
There wasn't
the two.
as much
But
to
while the
it.
Predator could dodge laser beams, Fett could
as,
match Force
some of the
users
other
with near
ones.
light speed reactions, making them similar in speed.
However, the major difference was durability.
While the Predators are definitely tough, Fett's Beskar armor covers more of his body and would easily resist almost all of a Predator's arsenal.
Like the plasma caster, usually hot enough to blast a hole through anything. But you know what else is made of plasma? Lightsabers, which bounce off Beskar no problem.
Specialized tools like the Plasma Scythe, with its ability to bypass conventional matter, could manage to kill Fett with a few lucky hits. However, Fett's jetpack and long-range arsenal allowed him to fight safely from a distance.
And Fett's kit countered a lot of what Predator could do. His helmet's infrared could see past Pred's camouflage. His flamethrower messed with Pred's
Yeah.
thermal vision, and nothing the Predator
It's
had
basically
could
like,
withstand a
yeah,
lightsaber
Boba Fett
strike.
Also, the
had,
Predator's
like,
EMP
everything
could
he
not
needed to
disable
counter the
Fett's
Predator.
armor, considering Beskar has withstood bolts of electromagnetic energy before without short-circuiting.
That's not to say the Predator was totally outmatched. He had a lot of similar gear, and a peak Predator would have had centuries of combat experience backing him up. Way more than Boba.
However, Fett was generally trickier. Predators fight with a code of honor and rarely, if ever, employ dirty tactics.
Ah,
Fett isn't
the
totally
old-
without honor. He still employs dirty tactics.
the old
to win
fighting
fair
dirty
fights, and was more
advantage.
likely to outfox the Pred given the chance.
Of course, none of
Stop
that would
calling
have
him
mattered
the
had
Pred,
Predator
it's
taken them both
weird.
out with his nuclear suicide bomb. At its epicenter, it would have been more than powerful enough to fry Fett. At its epicenter, the further away you are from the center of a blast, the less energy you're getting hit with.
By our calculations, Boba only needed to get about 50 meters away before the
Boba
energy
D's
he was
nuts.
taking was
I can't believe it
only
took
about
me
as
that
much
long
as
to
your
make that
average
joke.
thermal detonator, which the Beskar can survive. And given the countdown lasts 40 seconds, there was more than enough time, especially with a jetpack. Hell, Arnie escaped the same attack just by sprinting.
But perhaps the most important difference is the scope of their prey. Xenomorphs
Oh
are
my god.
definitely
This is a
deadly,
very
but not quite as
long
dangerous as a
conclusion
master
for
force
this.
user who can
Hold on,
read
when
minds and
let me
throw
see here.
starships
When did
around
the
like they're
fight
made of
end?
paper. Fett was definitely prepared for anything.
Okay, it ended like
the Predator could
15
throw at him,
minutes.
Even space magic.
This is a
The Predator was as deadly and
over
skilled as they
3
come,
minute
but
long
Fett's
conclusion.
cunning, arsenal and impenetrable armor gave him the win.
Congrats to Boba. Give him a hand. Oh wait, he's already got one.
The winner is Boba Fett. Hey, if you want
Anyway,
more Death Battle ASAP, why
that
not
was
grab a
the
membership?
last
You'll
episode
get
of the
exclusive
first
emotes,
half
badges,
of the
live
season
chat,
before they
live
took
streams, and
a
bunch of behind-the-scenes
small
stuff.
break
Just click that join
for
button.
the summer.
Thanks for watching.
Except for a bonus episode. So, Death Battle got sponsored by Warframe
This
to
episode
do
of Death
a
Battle is sponsored by Warframe.
Warframe-themed
Warframe's
death
highly
battle.
anticipated digital event, TennoCon, on July 16th.
So,
Double drop.
yeah, it's a Death Battle featuring a Warframe character, a series I know nothing about, but because of that, it's a little bit different.
Wiz, what are you
in
doing
style.
here? It's our day off.
Oh, just conducting some research. I've discovered a Tenno foundry in the process of crafting a new Warframe. I'm just about wrapped. What are you doing here?
Sometimes I have these horrible nightmares and I just wake up here in a cold sweat. I don't even think my car's in the parking lot. but what you're doing sounds way more interesting. So tell me, what Warframe's your favorite?
Oh, a scientist doesn't play favorites.
Oh, bullshit. Our job is the equivalent of banging action figures together. You've got to have a favorite.
Fine, if I had to pick, I'd go with the very first Warframe ever created, the death-dealing techno-organic ninja Excalibur.
Raiden
He's a
versus
cyborg
Jocelyn
like
the
Raiden
intern.
from Metal Gear.
What? No, they're not technically cyborgs. More like superpowered biomechanical vessels that are unlike anything I've ever seen. Trust me, this is gonna get crazy, so spoilers ahead.
Yeah, just give me the lore already, Wiz.
Yeah,
Long
Warframe
ago
spoilers,
in
I
the Origin
suppose.
system, the Orokin Empire discovered the Void, an extra-dimensional spatial realm that allowed for travel across vast cosmic distances. However, when they sent the first colony ship through it, the Zeramin 10-0, the Void drove all the adults on board into an insane, murderous frenzy.
Huh, sounds like my first wedding reception.
Okay. The children, though, absorbed the Void's energies, imbuing them with the powers they needed to defend themselves against their mad parents and survive. When the Zeramin 10-0 emerged from the Void, the children were permanently changed. They had become the Tenno.
Well, I'm sure those
That
traumatized
lady's the
little
spirit in
whippersnappers
Smash
received
Brothers
only
for
the
some
best of
reason.
care.
If only. Instead, the Tenno were taught to use their Void powers to control Warframes through a process called transference. But their abilities were so powerful that the Orokin grew to fear the Tenno and tried to have them destroyed. The Tenno were hidden from the Orokin and put into a deep sleep. That is, until one day, they were reawakened to defend a war-torn Origin system guided by their adoptive mother, the Lotus.
So they're basically sci-fi child soldiers.
Sort of. Though the Lotus does care deeply for her adopted children and has devoted her efforts to protecting as many Tenno as possible. There are almost 50 different Warframes currently out there, each with their own unique abilities and combat styles. But I think that the very first created Excalibur.
You
is
liking
the
this
deadliest.
ad?
He's kinda reminded me of someone.
A master swordsman with his razor-sharp skana, Excalibur is an expert at racking
His
up quick
razor-sharp,
kills
huh?
faster than the eye can track. He's unmatched in skill and precision with the blade, especially when augmented by his unique abilities, like Radial Blind, which releases a flash of light to incapacitate
In all fairness,
nearby foes,
if they're
or
gonna do an
Radial
ad,
Javelin, which
I
blasts out
like
a
this
wide burst
approach.
of energy spears. But his greatest and most iconic is easily the Exalted Blade, a sword of light that can slice just about anything to pieces. You don't get much cooler than that.
Huge-ass laser guns, Wiz. Huge-ass laser guns automatically make you cooler.
Funny you should say that. While individual Warframes like Excalibur may specialize in certain fields, they all have access to an incredible suite of futuristic weaponry, like the Nucor, which can fire concentrated beams of microwaves, literally cooking you from the inside out, or the Glaxion, which halts molecular vibrations entirely, freezing you in place. There are guns that fire radioactive plasma, toxic barbs, or even acidic needles. He has, and I'm not exaggerating here, over 500 different named weapons.
Man, he sounds like a one-man army.
Oh, you think that's crazy? Excalibur can call down an Archwing, basically a futuristic space jetpack with missiles, force fields, and even the ability to fire miniature black holes.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty powerful.
While Warframes usually battle alongside one another, they have had the occasional head-to-head scrap, where they've exhibited the durability to survive even the most powerful attacks that other Warframes have to dish out. For example, blasts of concentrated antimatter from the Warframe Nova.
Sounds pretty unstoppable, but I think I have someone in mind that might put that to
Yeah.
the test.
Okay, do you really want to talk about Raiden? Is that what this is?
Come on, Wiz. Child soldier, half-robot assassin, glorious Nippon steel. It's a perfect match.
Also,
Raised from
this was
childhood
during
to be
the
a trained
Metal
killer
Gear
in the
Rising
war-torn streets
like
of
meme
Liberia by the
resurgence.
future
So
president of the United States. Jack never knew what it meant to control his own destiny, to live his own life. The only thing he knew was how to kill, and he proved it when he accomplished one of the greatest feats in video game history, surviving the absolute mindfuck that was Metal Gear Solid 2. Legions of angry fanboys be damned. Solid Snake was yesterday's news. This was Raiden. Birthday suit and all.
Too bad for him that a shadowy extra-governmental body known as the Patriots
Yeah,
captured him
I-
and turned him into a cyborg for their own
the meme
complicated
revengeance.
purposes. Even after the Patriots' downfall, Raiden struggled to build a life that he could call his own, pulled between his sense of justice and his genuine ecstasy for war.
Well, at least he's got to put his weeb skills to work with the weapons he's pulled off the corpses of all the poor souls that dared mess with him. He's got dystopia, a magnetic sigh that pulls you towards your enemy, or l'étranger,
Wow, I think you actually said that right.
which is a convertible staff/whip combination made of arms, plus rocket launchers,
Arms,
claymore
the
mines,
video game
EMP
for the
grenades,
Nintendo
and all this
Switch.
stuff from MGS2. But nothing beats his high-frequency blade he inherited from Jetstream Sam, the Murasama.
I have to admit, the high-frequency blades
Yeah,
are
probably
marvels. They
play
vibrate
the
at such
original
high speeds
Metal
that
Gear
they can
Solid
destabilize
first.
the physical structures of metals on contact, greatly increasing their cutting ability. It's basically robot kryptonite, if that makes sense.
Even with his original high-frequency blade, Raiden could cut through massive Metal Gears like tissue paper.
And of note, those Metal Gears were not made of ordinary steel, but carbon nanotubes, one of the strongest materials known to man. The bonds between carbon atoms are incredibly strong, which means that the tensile strength of carbon nanotubes is greater than even the toughest
Yeah,
metals, like
I
titanium.
mean,
Using the high
I know
end of
there's like
potential sheer strength,
I feel like it's
slicing
one of
clean
those
through a
things where
billion-sized Metal
there's
Gear ray would
minuscule
require an
like
energy equivalent to, at most,
frame rate or
100
gameplay
kilotons of
differences,
TNT.
but
And the Murasama
if you're not
is
like a
red,
super
which
fan,
makes it
it's
even
not really
cuttier.
gonna
How else would he have had
matter.
a chance against our Lord and Savior, Senator Armstrong, and his nanomachines, son? Unlike those
Yep,
Beltway
memes.
pansies, this hulked out Ayn Rand can hit the ground so hard it splits lava. He was somehow a vastly more difficult boss than the stadium-sized Metal Gear Excelsis Raiden tore to shreds minutes earlier. Don't F with this, Senator.
That is, unless your nickname is Jack the Ripper.
Raiden spent years fighting for justice and denying who he really was inside. And it took his battles with Desperado enforcement to finally realize it. He's a killer, plain and simple, and he lives to test his skills against others.
When he enters Ripper mode, any last shred of inhibition leaves his body, and his strength and skill skyrocket.
And that's
He enters
exactly what
Pants
Armstrong
Ripper
saw in
mode,
Raiden. Living
and his
proof of
Robo
his
Pants
philosophy in
tear
action.
when he does
Someone
the
who pulled
splits.
themselves out of hell with nothing but their determination to survive.
But Raiden did not see it that way. Just because he had to fight for survival doesn't mean the whole world had to. And it was only through an act of generosity from Raiden's slain rival, Sam, that he managed to win.
His sword may have been a tool of justice, not used in anger, but the Murasama wasn't that sword. And with it, he ended Armstrong once and for all, and lived the rest of his life on his own terms. Look, I know we're just shooting the shit, but Raiden would definitely kick Excalibur's ass.
You've got to be joking. Maybe I didn't sell it well enough with my spiel, but Warframes like Excalibur are unbelievably powerful, on a whole other level from cyborg ninjas like Raiden.
Oh yeah? We're in the lab, we've got the research done. Prove it.
Okay, the Murasama is impressive, sure, but Excalibur's futuristic arsenal is hundreds of years more advanced and leagues more varied. Raiden would just be
I love the
overwhelmed.
setup of them.
Excalibur may win in quantity,
Just-
Wiz, but
it's
quality
them,
is what
like,
matters
actually
most.
having an
And
argument
considering
about
his
this. It's
weapons
so
are
funny.
mostly made of metal, it won't be any trouble for Raiden to melt right through him with the Murasama, especially with how crazy fast he is. Raiden can run up walls and break dance with leggy, mooing robots attached to his feet. He can slice bullets out of the air and even boost his reactions with blade mode, where the entire world slows down to a near stop.
Well, sure, Metal Gear characters like Revolver Ocelot can shoot bolts of electricity out of the air with regular pistols, which is probably around hundreds of times faster than sound. I guess that counts as fast.
Oh, please, that's nothing! Raiden can increase his perception to the point that raindrops around him aren't even moving. That might not seem as crazy at first glance, but he's also able to swing his sword dozens of times while time is almost stopped. By my calculations, that'd be about 11% the speed of light.
Oh, is this happening? Is this actually happening? You want a calc off, big guy? Then let's go. Excalibur can literally block a beam of light with his sword. Judging by the distance it moved relative to how far the light beam traveled, Excalibur had to have been swinging at 9% the speed of light.
Calc King dethroned. Look at me. I'm the math boy now.
Look, speed is only part of the picture. Another Warframe, Atlas, was strong enough to smash apart a giant asteroid. Now, Excalibur may not be one-punching asteroids, but he's proven more than capable of wiping out entire platoons of elite soldiers.
But remember, Wiz, you said it yourself. Robot Kryptonite. All old Jack needs is one good swing of that Murasama, and Excalibur's getting sliced to pieces. You really think your Warframe can take on a pure-blooded killer like Raiden?
Whoa, you really think your cyborg ninja can take on a ghost soldier from the future?
Well, I guess we'll never know.
Forever a mystery.
No way to determine a winner.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Oh yeah, I could definitely go for a beer right now.
No, you idiot. Let's settle this the old-fashioned way.
Oh, yeah! It's time for a death battle!
Wiz, know your gaming rig.
This episode of Death Battle is
Okay,
quite
here's
An
the
epic
actual,
wielded
like,
fictional story about
ad,
shooting.
here's
If
the
this
ad
is Black Rock
part.
Visit the in-game.
item collection to
Yeah, I imagine the not official episodes
Doctor,
will be like
are
this.
you seeing this?
Doctor.
Tenno, an enemy is ahead, and that foundry is crafting a warframe.
Straight to the point. Metal freaks like you usually got a monologue first.
That's robophobic, Raiden. Come on.
His sword, it's weakening yours.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Infinite ammo.
I get that reference.
Yes, I'm in! Mr. Raiden, sir, or can I call you Jack? Big fan.
Who the hell? I'm busy here.
Wait, just listen! You'll never expect your secret weapon.
All right, listen. He's definitely hiding in the cardboard box.
Get out of here!
That it's fun how they are Wiz and Boomstick interfere in the fight. Yeah, it's not an official battle, so they're allowed to talk to the combatants, I guess.
Time to let her rip. This is why I fight. Survival of the fittest. The rules of nature.
My child, you're not done yet. I'm surging your warframe's power systems. Excellent work, Tenno. Now for the foundry. It's finished.
Well, the ending's a little
Chalk one up for the Calc
abrupt.
King. The math boy is back.
But man, for an ad, that fight was awesome.
He had infinite ammo.
Sure, and yes, that is 100% indisputably canon, but there was a lot more going on here.
The
that
infinite
eventually
ammo
gave
is
Excalibur the
canon.
win.
I guess so. Both were super skilled swordsmen and ninja, and their speeds were almost even. So the fight was ultimately gonna come down to whose tech was better. And I've gotta say, it looks like Excalibur just had a lot more to pull from.
Warframes have access to an absolutely absurd amount of varied weapons. Despite Raiden's unique
And you
armaments,
can use
they
all
were
of them
never
by
going to
using
stack up
the
in sheer
code in the
quantity.
description
And
and
consider
downloading
specific guns like
Warframe
Glycine,
today.
which can halt molecular movement, a direct counter to Raiden's high-frequency blade. While Excalibur may not always be carrying it, every Warframe is proficient with each
The
of their
winner, the
over
one with more
500
content.
weapons.
One blast
Yeah.
of that, and Raiden might as well be working with a regular slab of steel. Excalibur was way stronger too. Sure, Raiden could cut through giant Metal Gear rays made of carbon nanotubes, generating up to 100 kilotons of TNT.
But not as much as Excalibur. Another Warframe, Atlas, was strong enough to smash apart a giant asteroid, meaning it would have to be at least 6 kilometers across, just like the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. Now, Atlas did not completely halt its kinetic energy. By exploiting fissures within the asteroid, he was able to pulverize it to dust.
That means his punch had to hit with an energy of at least 46 gigatons of TNT. Sure, in canon, Atlas is stronger than
Yeah,
Excalibur.
they
but
have said that
fought
when they
and
do
defeated
ads like
similar
this,
enemies, so
they
Excalibur would
don't,
naturally have to
like,
be somewhere
bias
in
the
Atlas's
result
ballpark.
towards
Even if
the,
Excalibur only
the
possessed
sponsor.
1% of Atlas's
That they
strength,
said that they
he'd still be
only
nearly
accept stuff like this
4,000
if
times
the
stronger
sponsor
than
gives
Raiden.
them
That's pretty
full
consistent with
freedom
the energy output of
to
Nova's antimatter blast,
judge
too.
the fight
Warframes
fairly
are
and
just that tough.
potentially let their
Furthermore, even with the high-frequency
sponsor's
blade's
character
unique
be killed.
vibrating ability, it cannot cut through everything. Raiden's original blade actually shattered against Armstrong's super hard skin and required the stronger Murasama to finish the job. Against a foe vastly more durable than anyone Raiden's ever faced, it's unlikely the Murasama would score a kill in time.
Even if Raiden got enough hits in to break Excalibur's shields and eventually land a fatal blow, the Tenno operator piloting would still survive unharmed.
Raiden put up a valiant effort, but Excalibur's absurd arsenal, impressive durability, and raw power put an end to the silver-haired swordsman.
Excalibur had the metal and the gear to make Jack R.I.P.
The winner is Excalibur. Told you so. Thanks for watching, and thanks
It's
to
a good
Warframe for
episode.
sponsoring this battle. Quick disclaimer, Digital Extremes and the Warframe team did not dictate the victor of this episode, nor even the matchup. They were fine with it going either way, and we wouldn't have accepted the sponsorship otherwise. So we're
Yeah,
really
see.
thankful to them for understanding this show. Remember, you can get a free collection of Excalibur-themed goodies from Warframe.com or the in-game marketplace with the promo code WF-Death-Battle. And don't miss out on TennoCon, July 16th.
I'm Jocelyn,
Oh, yeah.
and I've been promoted. I'm about to do all the research.
Desk of
nobody
Death
else
Battle,
wants to,
if you wanna
straight
check
from
that
the
out.
Desk of Death Battle.
It's a cool show. But we're here for the start of
This episode is sponsored by Babbel.
the second half of the season with James Bond versus John Wick.
James Bond, the world-famous secret agent 007.
John Wick, the legendary hitman who did the impossible.
Whether they fly solo or operate on behalf of the government, the world is filled with
John Wick,
professional killers of
the
all
guy
shapes and
from
sizes.
But which
Fortnite.
one of cinema's super assassins is packing Parabellum, and which one will live to die another day? He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. From the shores of Crab Key to the craps tables of Casino Royale, from Russia with Love to Moonraker at the edge of outer space, no man has saved the world more times than Bond.
James Bond.
Yeah.
He's the OG action hero, the slickest Scot there ever was, the coldest warrior of the swingin' 60s.
After a climbing accident in the French Alps took his parents,
This is also
young
an interesting
James
one,
studied abroad
since
and graduated to the Ministry of
James
Defense
Bond,
just in time
I would
for
not
World War
is
II.
not a character
He
I
rose
would
through the
call
ranks,
having a
quickly
consistent
becoming a commander
backstory.
of the Royal Navy, and when you find the thing you're good at, in his case, wanting murder, never do it for free.
So, after the war, James decided on Her Majesty's Secret Service and became a special agent of MI6. And they were so impressed, he was given his first 2 state-sanctioned assassinations. With this baptism in blood, Bond was granted the legendary 00 status and a license to kill with impunity.
As the premier defender of the West, Agent 007 is a jack of all trades when it comes to kicking commie ass and terrorist ass. And basically everyone's ass for the past 60 years. From the novels to the movies to the comics and games, he's been rebooted tons of times, but they're all still Bond.
Bond is a master
Again,
of infiltration,
composite character.
disguise, acrobatics, driving, diving, skiing, boating, climbing, horseback riding, airplane pilot, swordsman, knife fighter, knife thrower, people thrower.
And deadliest of all, gamer. Bond carries
Gamer
classic
Bond.
Walter PPK, among the world's first successful double-action semi-automatic pistols. While it only carries 9 rounds, its small size makes it optimal for concealment.
And a microdermal sensor in the grip coded to Bond's fingerprint means only he can fire it.
It even comes with unique ammo that breaks apart upon entry and creates 8 exit
Oh.
wounds, traveling like a bullet but hitting like a shotgun.
Especially deadly
Oh, yeah.
considering Bond has the golden eye of an expert marksman.
I think
able
I
to
also
take
went
out
through a
room of
spy
armed guards
phase
in
when I was a
single
kid.
second, or
Remember those,
shoot
like,
the fuel tank of a
spy
helicopter
gear
from a
toys?
speeding boat a quarter of a mile away.
He's just as deadly disarmed. Bond combines multiple martial arts.
Also
like
helps
judo,
that
boxing,
I
Krav
live
Maga,
very near
Muay
to
Thai,
the,
and jiu-jitsu, allowing him to
like,
keep up even
National
when
Spy
outnumbered.
Museum.
This mix of styles
Very
is
cool
likely
museum.
the Welsh self-defense system known as Goshinkwai, which is taught by the modern Special Air Service.
Though that all pales in comparison to his greatest ability. F***ing, banging, laying down pipe. He's so proficient at seduction, it actually feels more like a superpower.
Look, we're not kidding. He once seduced a female assassin sent to kill him so thoroughly, she threw herself in front of the bullet meant for him. She knew him for less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes
Damn.
Bond does stuff I can only describe
What a
as
lady killer.
superhero shit.
Literally.
Look at this. So why not follow that impulse and give him some superhero gadgets too?
Developed by MI6's resident quartermaster, Q, Bond's spy gadgetry often complements his knack for problem solving and quick thinking.
He's got a pen that'll explode after 3 clicks and disarm after a 4th, an Omega Seamaster watch that can shoot a laser beam, a cigarette that fires a miniature rocket, and C4 toothpaste that can be remotely detonated. Probably a safer bet than that pen, especially if you're a compulsive clicker like me. Wait, was I on 3 or 4?
He also occasionally wears a lightweight bulletproof vest,
Oh, yeah.
as well as a garrote wire for quiet kills and a grappling hook hidden
All the
within his
cool,
belt buckle.
inventive
That's only
gadgets.
The semi-normal shit. He's carried earbuds that give him super hearing, X-ray shades, ultrasonic cufflink grenades, a stun gas keychain, a cell phone taser.
He has
exploding
super
remote-controlled
AirPods.
drones, a nanosuit that turns him completely invisible, and a frigging jetpack. You've gotta have a hell of a pair of thunderballs to piss off a crazy Scot riding
I mean,
one of
I'd be
those.
disappointed
His
if it
greatest
didn't have an
weapon is the
ejector
one,
seat.
The only,
His dick.
the Aston Martin DB5.
Oh, I thought we were still talking about him. Never mind. This absolute beauty.
Did you ever
isn't
read
just
the
good
Alex
looks.
Rider
She's
books?
packing
Those are some of my
front-mounted
favorites
machine
as a
guns,
kid.
Oil slicks, smoke screens, and of course, the ejector seat. Oh, and good luck trying to break in. This baby is insanely bulletproof. Like, just look at this. It won't stop. Still going. Still going.
Q has provided numerous vehicles over the years with ever more insane features, like a submarine transformation, light-bending holograms, and a remote control built into Bond's phone.
God, just look at him, living his best life. And why wouldn't he? He's a globe-trotting ladies' man with the UK Treasury as his personal credit card. He's got the world in the palm of his hand.
But for some, the world is not enough. Though Bond's iterations may vary, one thing remains throughout. Behind that debonair smile and British wit is a broken, soulless shell. A man only good for killing.
I guess it's no surprise that a dude who smokes up to 70 cigarettes a day and routinely drinks enough to enter a coma
Is that a
might have a
statistic?
death
They
wish.
said that
Now,
like it's a
James
proven
wasn't always
statistic.
like this. Not long after getting his 00, he found love, and loved so much he left the Secret Service behind.
But there are some lives you can't escape, and some lives you can't save, no matter how hard you try. Sometimes all that's left is to kill the love inside you until all that matters is revenge.
There's no denying Bond's psychopathic tendencies. He's killed hundreds of enemy combatants over his career and might just enjoy the act of torture.
But what makes me respect him is he never forgets a pun afterward.
All that hate and regret wrapped up into one man with nothing to live for. The perfect assassin for a dying empire.
Bond is strong enough to hold his own against superhuman henchmen like Oddjob and Jaws, who can lift a van off the ground.
He
The writing
survived
of this
being
analysis
blasted by
goes so
extremists,
hard.
falling hundreds of feet into a river and having his eggs scrambled.
At his
Ugh.
best, he's even fast enough to dodge gunfire nearly point blank and missiles while in free fall and still shoot people. This is the superhero shit we were talking about.
Time and time again, he's outsmarted criminal masterminds like Dr. No, Goldfinger, and Scaramanga, the man with the golden gun. He's even bested the worst of them all, his arch nemesis, the
Scaramanga,
international terrorist,
that's what
In
Junji
2
Ito
different
writes.
timelines, no less.
He writes the
And
Scaramanga.
plot twist, in the second, Blofeld was Bond's long-lost adopted brother. Which, if I recall correctly, also happened in Austin Powers. But that's why we love the old Scottish so-and-so. Who else could escape a giant space laser by kite surfing on a tsunami? What more can we say about 007? He's got the best job in the business, and nobody does it better.
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Babbel.
It's exactly with Benedictive Wisdom.
Speaking
100 recognition right now.
that's language.
Grew up.
Yeah, I've never seen any of the John Wick
You
movies
ever
myself.
just
I have
screw
heard
up,
they are all
like,
very
really
good, though.
Badly. Like, make the worst mistake ever. So bad you're just for the rest of your life.
Yes. Let's lay out a hypothetical. You see a car that you like, but its owner won't sell. So, you follow him home, beat him senseless, steal his car, and kill his dog.
The dog his beloved wife gifted him after she died very recently. So yeah, pretty big mistake.
And this man, well, he just happens to be the single deadliest assassin in the entire world.
He may be called Baba Yaga, but he's not the boogeyman. He's the one you sent to kill the goddamn boogeyman, John Wick. So yeah, that's one pretty huge mistake.
The full story of this
Keanu
specter
Reeves
is almost
himself.
non-existent, but rumor has it he was trained by the Ruska Roma crime syndicate from a young age, before moving to America and making a name for himself in its criminal
Jardani
underworld.
Terrifying enough to
Janonovich.
scare the living daylights out of even the most hardened murderers.
Wick is a master martial artist, combining several schools into an all-purpose fighting style that focuses on maximum efficiency with minimal effort.
Almost no one who has fought him directly has lived to tell the tale. So which specific forms he practices are for his eyes only. So why don't we look at the martial arts used to prepare for the movies by everyone's favorite immortal, Keanu Reeves.
Reeves combines Sambo,
I'm
Aikido,
checking
Judo,
to
and
make sure we're
Brazilian
not
Jiu-Jitsu
dropping
for
too many
defensive
frames.
joint
I saw a
locks,
little bit of
throws,
dropped
and wrestling
frames on
moves
my
to avoid as much damage to
on
himself
my
as
overlay.
possible while using his opponent's own weight against them.
Though his go-to is Krav Maga, which is designed to take all the best moves from various martial arts to make the ultimate fighting style.
While most martial arts are designed
Yeah,
with
so let me
other
know if the
purposes in
stream
mind,
gets
like
real
exercise,
bad.
Krav Maga's entire goal is basically murder.
And boy, if that isn't Wick to a T. In his hands, literally anything can be a deadly weapon. Knives, swords, books, his belt. Shit, he once took out 3 guys with a pencil. A number 2 pencil. And
Oh yeah, I
thanks to
should
John's
probably
precise
put like a
understanding of the human
violence
body,
content
he can
warning
target
on
weak
this.
points and vital organs with ease.
Because like,
But thanks to the
I mean, people
Continental,
die
he
in
doesn't
death
have to rely
battles.
on writing utensils to execute his victims.
but people
Imagine a chain of
die
details
in
around
John
the
Wick
world that
movies.
serve as a front for a whole underground society of assassins. He can consult the wine steward's robust selection.
Pistols, revolvers, submachine guns, assault rifles, shotgun, plastic explosives, it's all on the menu.
Though Wick prefers his Heckler & Koch P30L, a polymer-framed semi-automatic handgun that holds 15 rounds of 9x19 parabellum.
Which he wields like an artist does a paintbrush. Wick can empty entire rooms full of enemies before they can blink, once even taking out 7 armed guards in only 3 seconds.
He's the definition of accurate, almost never missing a shot, and that includes on horseback and motorcycle back. If he's got
Damn.
a view to a kill, you can bet he's taking it.
And he comes literally dressed to kill with his perfectly tailored, tactically lined suit jacket that is completely bulletproof. Even repeated gunshots from close range do nothing to him.
It also
Damn.
helps him blend into the shadows for some sick stealth kills, and even disappear in plain sight like the goddamn Batman.
Wick eventually joined the Tarasov mob and quickly became one of their top enforcers, a grim reaper who hunted their enemies with divine prejudice.
But maybe this Angel of Death was more human than we first thought. After years of being a badass, Wick wanted out of the mob to get married to the love of his life and retire. Wow, I wonder how that first date conversation went. Man, she must have really fallen for him. I guess he put the ass in assassin.
So his boss gave him an impossible
Boomstick's
task.
still
He
going
could
with that
leave
pen.
if he wiped out every last one of the mob's enemies in a single night, which he did, because human or no, he's still John Wick.
And he lived happily ever after. Well, until his former boss's snot-nosed son screwed up. Like, really badly. Great job, Theon. You never miss.
That wasn't just some dog, but a semblance of hope, the opportunity to grieve unalone, his
Puppy.
last tether to a happy life. So Wick was back with a vengeance, prepared to kill every last person that got in his way until the whole of New York's criminal underworld had been razed by his bloody crusade. Over the course of the 3 movies, which span only about 2 weeks, Wick left over
Oh my God.
300 bodies in his
Oh
wake.
my god.
300. Running into him is like seeing the sky
Even
fall.
gamers.
You're going to die. There's no escape. He survived being stabbed, ran
I mean,
by cars, shot in the
just
stomach, blown
another
up,
instance of
mutilated, and
gamers
knocked off of a
being
10-story
put
building,
down
all
by
within
oh
a
shit.
fortnight.
Oh, and somewhere in
Fortnite,
there he found the energy to
they
trek
did
through
that on
the Saharan
purpose.
desert.
I
And
swear,
it's not like
they
the
had
villains
to
from
have done that on
the previous movie had
purpose.
time to heal, or the ones from the movie before that.
We cannot emphasize this enough. John Wick is unstoppable.
He's strong enough to toss around full-grown men, snap bone, and body slam 2 assassins through a bulletproof glass floor.
Wick absolutely annihilated his former Tarasov employers, the Neapolitan crime family, Kimura, and fended off an international army of assassins attacking him at random, one after the other, every few minutes.
Even after being declared excommunicado by the Continental, bereft of his former resources, he killed every last soldier sent after him by the High Table.
With barely a quantum of solace to rest. Like we said, completely unstoppable. Outgunned, outmanned, it doesn't matter. John Wick lost everything in the world that meant anything to him, and that means he won't stop killing until there's no one left, or he dies trying. And good freaking luck with that.
Holy
This
shit.
episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Mint Mobile.
Any
List-
Yeah. You may have noticed the running bit with this episode is that they've been sneaking the title of every Bond movie into the script somewhere. Anyway, here's the fight.
Is not one to be taken lightly. Be careful, 007. And happy
Yeah.
hunting.
Your concern is always touching, Q. Vodka martini. Shaken, not stirred. What can I get you, mate? Drinks are on me.
I prefer to be alone.
Unfortunately, I wasn't asking, Baba Yaga. Now you can come with me, or we can do this here.
Killing isn't permitted on company grounds.
Lucky me. Seems you've got me at a disadvantage. You won't mind giving a dead man walking one last smoke?
What does MI6 want with me?
Your reputation precedes you. I'll be sure to keep up.
No, you won't.
To be entirely honest, I lost count.
The car! And now it's just a set piece. And they did the shot through the gun barrel.
What comes around goes around, as they say. Yeah.
Bond, come in. What's the mission status?
Smashing. Positively smashing.
Oh, do grow up, 007.
So yeah, this one's pretty good.
I never thought Wick could lose, but I guess I'll never say never again. Though his skills and tenacity would have saved
the
Wick
like
initially
realistic
against
human
James
models
Bond.
look
You
a
only
little
live twice.
uncanny in some
I know what
places,
I said.
Well,
but
despite
they
all
manage
that,
it
Wick
well.
met his match in Agent
Uh,
007.
And
It's
man
also a
is
bit
the
weird to
optimal
see
word here.
Daniel
Wick may have been
Craig's
an
Bond
expert martial
specifically
artist, but
being
Bond
all
has
like
actually practiced several of the
jokey and
same
nonchalant.
styles Wick has, and has been shown to be just as skilled a fighter,
But yeah,
even
this is
defeating
a
master martial artist
great
himself.
fight.
Wick's
Bond got to
ability
use a lot of
shatter
his
a floor of
gadgets.
bulletproof glass
Uh,
definitely makes him superhumanly strong, but Bond has fought off similarly powerful henchmen in the past.
Choreography
While
was
Wick's speed and
surprisingly
accuracy
good.
with a gun may look unbeatable, Bond's is just as impressive.
He's landed accurate shots just as well as
a good
Wick ever
fight.
has, but more importantly, he has a faster quick draw.
That's right. Despite being played by Neo himself, Wick has never dodged bullets. Bond, on the other hand, has. And that superior speed gave him an edge in both close
Yeah.
quarter combat and on the draw.
Though since both had body armor, the fight probably wasn't going to be won by guns alone. And that's where Bond held his biggest advantage, his gadgets.
There was no way Wick would see an exploding pen or a laser watch coming. And that's the whole point of Bond's gadgets. They're seemingly normal, everyday objects that'll take his enemy by surprise.
Given time, Bond has always used these to come up with game-winning strategies, even against numerically superior foes, especially with his more absurd technology like the invisible nanosuit and remote-controlled explosive drones.
Wick's endurance might be mind-blowing, but he isn't invincible.
He can keep fighting even on death's door, but the deadliness of Bond's trick weapons
It's
would not have
rare
given
that
him
we get a
that
matchup
option.
like this where it's not like
Diamonds are forever, but
comic
against someone
video
just
game
as
anime
skilled with an arsenal
characters,
straight out of science fiction,
which makes
Wick
all the more
definitely
fun when
wasn't.
they do happen.
Bond may have been the spy who loved me, but against Wick, he was going to live and let die. And you can bet tomorrow never dies. Nailed it. Look, I just had to fit the last few movies in, okay? Oh, wait, shit! I forgot about Octopussy!
The winner is Bond. James Bond.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want more Death Metal ASAP, why not grab a membership? You'll get exclusive emotes, badges, live chat, live
You'll
streams,
love
and a
to
bunch
see
of
it. You'll
behind-the-scenes
love to
stuff.
see it.
Just click that join button. Thanks for watching.
Next up is... Oh yeah, next is a... Black Adam versus Apocalypse.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Which like at this point they're kind of running out of Marvel versus DC thematic matchups, but this one's kind of a meme in the community because it's like people were kind of excited
DC's
for it,
ferocious champion of Shazam.
Apocalypse! Marvel's
but
Beowulf
like
mutant conqueror.
I don't know.
Anubis,
People
Thoth,
showed up in
Ra.
suits
For
to watch
over
this
30
one, like
centuries,
literally.
Egyptian mythology
There's like
spawned
reaction
countless
vids of
legends.
people watching
We've
for the
got
first time
comics
in like
biggest
full
fatties this side
suits.
of the Nile. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons,
But these guys
armor,
are
and
both
skills to find out who would
evil
win a
and
death battle.
Egyptian, kind of.
You've heard of Gotham, the Mascara, Metropolis, just a few of DC's unique tourist spots.
But there's another. South of the Mediterranean Sea
Yeah.
and north of the Sinai Peninsula rests the sovereign nation of Kahndaq.
While those spots have Superman and Batman solving crimes like it's magic, Kahndaq's got an actual magic man saving them, Black Adam.
Long ago, Teth Adam and his people were enslaved by the conqueror Ebok and his army of barbarians. All he had left was his nephew, Amon. Upon fleeing certain death, the two stumbled onto the Rock of Eternity, a mystic lair that has defended magic since the dawn of time.
There's just a
Here,
Japanese
the two
dude
earned an
there.
audience with the lair's masters, the excellently named Council of Wizards.
Seeing the purity in little Amon's heart, this wannabe Gandalf decked him out with super magic. And being the nice guy he is, Amon shared some magic power with his uncle. Spoiler alert! Not his best idea.
They returned to Kahndaq to free their people, but their methods reached an impasse. Amon wanted to use his powers to resolve matters in a peaceful fashion. However, Teth Adam desired vengeance, emancipation through slaughter.
So Uncle Teth sat his nephew down, man to man, looked him straight in the eyes, and then frickin' killed him. Then used his borrowed power to steal the rest of the super magic. You know what they say? No nephew, no problem.
With the full might of the wizards
I'm
at
always
his
saying
fingertips,
this.
Black Adam annihilated the barbarians and freed his city. Suffice to say, he's not exactly your typical hero.
Even the superhero A-listers don't try him, and for good reason. Kmart Merlin here didn't give Adam some nerdy wand, but that dope shit, the living lightning.
The
While it
dope
may function
shit.
just like real lightning, this living lightning is among the most potent spells in comics history.
It's magic lightning. You ever see normal lightning kickstart a giant's heart and juice up the Flash? Because Black Adam's lightning did, and activating it is as easy as saying the magic word, Shazam! Wait, hold up, that's Billy's word. Shouldn't he shout like, Black Adam, or Shazoo?
Remember Kmart Merlin? This
I
is
love the
Morag,
idea of him
the
just going,
mightiest of the wizards.
Black
To
Adam!
protect the
And that's how he
multiverse's
gets his
magic,
powers.
He promotes individuals to be his mythic champions. Black Adam is one of the first. So kind of like Shazam with another name.
I like my idea better. Shazoo! It really lets you know you gotta be quiet, like when you're in a zoo or, the animals will kill you. Wait, is that not a real thing? Can I talk at the zoo?
But
Shut
when
up,
Teth Adam
Boomstick.
shouts his magic word, lightning pours from the clouds, transforming him from meager human to wizard Jesus, and vice versa. Simply put, Black Adam is imbued with the powers of God. Well, gods, plural, as his gifts come from multiple mythological legends.
At first, he got juiced up from the Greek gods. Zeus, Atlas, Herc, all those buff guys and gals. But it didn't really work out though, cause he kinda died.
Yet Kahndaq craved for their hero's return. So Black Adam's most devoted followers collected all of his ashes and prayed their hearts out, this time to their own pantheon.
Goodbye, muscles, and hello, bird people. Black Adam was reborn, now with the powers of the Egyptian pantheon. Gods like Shu, Amun, and Horus gave Adam the basics: super strength, speed, flight, and an undying body. But the real magic's with the other three.
The power of Aten channels the living lightning throughout his entire body for combative purposes.
Yeah,
And the wisdom
this
of
is why he's,
Zehuti
like,
improves Black Adam's
the
strategic
lightning
thinking.
guy.
It's a council of knowledge from the gods that clues Black Adam in on how to defeat his enemies. Like, for instance, when evil Joker Batman drove Billy mad, Billy went all King Shazam on Kahndaq. But guess what? Zehuti had Black Adam instinctively lead Billy into a trap to destroy his ass with the power of Sunday prayers. Hallelujah! Holy shit!
And finally, the courage of Mehen. Besides minor healing and resistance to mental attacks, Mehen's power granted Black Adam an indomitable will.
It's got him through some
When
really
does he
rough
get-
matches.
when
His
does he get a
family
couple of
dead.
whack?
His country wasted. His wife got revived. She turned to stone. You can knock him down, sure, but he ain't staying there.
Mehen helped make Black Adam a non-wavering and decisive
Mehen.
leader. The whole world can turn against him, but he would not care so long as Kahndaq is safe. To reach those ends, he's partnered with the Justice Society of America, the Society of Supervillains, and even the Justice League. Rubbed elbows with Superman one day and Lex the next.
So, is Black Adam a good guy or a bad guy?
Neither. Only the side that benefits
He's
his
morally
people
gray.
matters. He's not concerned with morality, and his brash nature is frequently misunderstood. It's what led to the entire JSA jumping him. Twice.
And they still couldn't check
Damn.
him. Adam's just built that different.
Black Adam caused sandstorms with a single clap, pushed the moon, and killed the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
One time when space cultists came a knocking on Earth, he fought side by side with his best bro, Sinestro. Afterward, when the Yellow Lanterns dipped and took their rings with them, Sinestro let Black Adam keep the one he got. Now that's a bromance. And can I just say, Black Adam makes a mean lightning tiger.
He murdered the Council of Wizards and later endangered Momorgan himself. And the Almighty Wizards are part of the Quintessence, basically DC's gods who watch over the multiverse.
No surprise,
Holy
since
shit.
Black Adam effortlessly broke Spectre's body, another Quintessence person.
Sure, he's torn off Hawkman's wing and tried to kill Wonder Woman, but through the eyes of his people and loved ones, Black Adam is a hero. A moment's gaze from their idol is all they need to carry on living.
So invaders beware, no one's truly safe from the true, savage champion of Shazam. Ah shit, I was kinda hoping I'd transform there. Shazoo! Fuck! Let me tell you about one of my favorite graphic novels.
Bro's
It spells
onto
the
nothing.
end of all days, when madness reigns supreme and order is shattered, mounted upon white horses, death, destruction, pestilence, and famine bring about a world anew. It gets dark as shit, like literally, and I'm there for it.
Are you talking about the Bible?
What? No, this is a Marvel comic. 5,000 years ago in Marvel Comics, the Egyptian
They're all
Aqaba
saying
tribe
nothing.
birthed something terrible. An ugly child. To them, he was a demon. Like a mix between Great Value Thanos and a box of chalk sticks. So they midnight dumpster babied his ass in the desert to
Oh,
die.
he wasn't just
Luckily,
ugly.
Ball of
He
the
was
Crimson Sands
white.
tribe saw differently. Within this child, he saw a conqueror.
Evil.
He raised him as En Saba Nur, the morning light.
And above all, he taught him one major lesson. Only the strong survive.
Nur became a warrior, same as his
Nur.
peers, but his physical differences made his experience unique. He was stronger, smarter, and hated. Even to these people, he was an outsider.
Then the Pharaoh killed Baal and enslaved Nur. Dude had no one left on his side except for this chick who he had a thing for. But everyone he meets apparently just wants ugly people to die, even when he saves their life. Shit, just swipe right, girl. Goddamn.
And so he embraced the perceived truth. If he was a monster, he would prove it.
Ugh.
Betrayed by all and respected by none. If no one would care for En Saba Nur, they would all fear.
And then he became
Apocalypse.
really
Long story short,
big.
he's a mutant, and not just a creepy looking dude like Beak over the. Oh, God, I'm gonna throw up in my mouth a little bit. Anyway, he's got superpowers, and they're on a whole nother level.
He has inhuman physiology and
Sure.
intelligence, along with
Yeah, that
complete
would've been a
control
cool
over his
look.
molecular structure, allowing him to reshape
Coulda
and mold
spiked
his
it up
body
and got-
however he
gone
pleases.
Super
Yeah, but I
Saiyan.
guess he's too proud to just, like, turn himself into Jason Momoa or something.
With a combination of his not-so-screwed-tight tactical brain and prowess, Apocalypse conquered Egypt, leading it into a prosperous age with an iron fist and an ocean of blood. He'd then set his sights on the very world itself.
Just one problem. The world had a bunch of X-Men and Avengers running around stopping his world domination. To accomplish his big dream,
Man, those
Apocalypse
jerks.
needed something more.
But that would all change upon the arrival of a certain mutant messiah. Okay, so first, Apocalypse found some space tech that belonged to Celestials, basically Marvel's gods.
Despite its amazing potential, he wasn't able to make use of the technology until the time traveler Cable showed up to kill him. Instead, Cable accidentally infected Apocalypse with the techno-organic virus, a disease that turns organic matter to futuristic technology.
Turns out,
Uh-oh.
this is
Boomstick.
exactly what Apocalypse needed to access the Celestial tech. With the promise that he would repay the Celestials later, he was bestowed a gem that would change the game forever. This is a Death Seed, a celestial artifact with the purpose of leading Earth into a higher evolved form.
Damn.
By injecting a Death Seed into someone, they are transfigured into one of Apocalypse's horsemen, a being of incredibly fatal power.
Don't forget about that techno-organic virus either. Controlling the virus means controlling all technology with your mind. Cable couldn't tame it, but Apocalypse's power is so vast, he had no issues controlling it.
So take a god pyramid, add a super tech virus, multiply the X gene, and what do you get? An Apocalypse who is unrecognizable from his meager past. With these three under his command, any superpower you can think of is now at his disposal.
Apocalypse can teleport, blast all sorts of energy, turn invisible, regenerate limbs, read minds, and friggin' fly.
Yeah, he's
Look at
one of
him
those
whiz.
guys who
He's
can
got
just
his hands behind
kind
his
of
back and
do
he just
anything.
doesn't give a shit.
And most impressive is his ability to siphon energy. He once absorbed Cyclops' laser with his bare hand, the same laser that can split planets.
It wasn't long before the virus incorporated technology into his molecules. With mere thoughts, he can construct fake bodies, entire robot armies, and even morph himself into a kaiju. And
my
his peak,
God.
virtually no one stands a chance. On a bad day, Apocalypse bodied 6 of the strongest X-Men in a minute.
His telepathy alone contends with Jean Grey, one of the greatest psychics in Marvel.
He's out-muscled and outpaced both Hulk and Thor. And we all know how crazy those two are. We're talking about heroes able to destroy the Marvel Universe. And in an alternate timeline, Apocalypse even slaughtered a Celestial with his bare hands. His bare freaking hands! Wow, way to pay him back for that solid they did you, bro.
With that Death Seed in tow, it's hard to attribute Apocalypse as anything but a force of nature, especially when said Death Seed has mutated beings capable of fighting the Phoenix Force, a cosmic entity and the primal force of life. In fact, Dr. Doom claims the Death Seed is directly comparable to the Phoenix itself.
Oh,
much
that
pain,
my
so
mind's
many
kind of glazing
bodies.
over at this point.
Apocalypse is an agent of war and has
Just
the
like, oh
scars
man,
to
this
back
guy's
it
so
up.
powerful.
And even
He
when someone manages
could
to take him down,
fight
so
this
long
other
as
thing
he's
that's
got
also
blood,
super
metal,
powerful.
and that Death Seed, he'll just keep coming
And that
back
thing can
again
do
and
this
again
thing that's super
and
powerful.
again.
Ball would be proud. For what is more
Ball.
inevitable and more dramatic to the annihilation of humans than the Apocalypse himself?
And he can also get really
This episode of
big.
Death
Did
Battle
we
is
mention
sponsored
that?
by and you just give it badly, along with blame.
/Death Battle. We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
Yeah, he also kind of looks similar. Just kind of big, gray colored guy with armor. Anyway, fight time. I like the intro where they have like the comic book panels. That's cool. Of course, they have a rap track.
Where's your general, interloper? Humans interlope on mutant sanctuary. Shazam!
Headbutt clashes are always cool. I can't stop thinking about how much it must hurt, though.
Your counsel will aid you no longer. Pitiful God. Your kind will learn to fear me soon enough. Nor in Sabanor, you will learn to fear me.
Go up. Look,
The hell out of my country.
he got really big.
I refuse to relinquish my home to you heretics. Shazam! Your hubris has failed you, Jeff Adam. Shazam! Oh, shit. I never offered you a choice. Now, everything you've built will fall.
Kind of a cool death. Cool and brutal. And I like how the crack stays on the camera. Lots of good, like, pseudo fourth wall breaking stuff. Oh yeah, the death's really gruesome and cruel. But again, it fits for these guys.
And our camera, goddammit! Wiz, that's gotta be like, what, $30 whole? Fuck, man.
This result surprised us. For what it's worth, both Black Adam and Apocalypse displayed ludicrous levels of godlike ability.
Both of their power supplies
Yeah, but
compared to
Apocalypse's
cosmic beings
superpower
like
was
the
that he
Phoenix
could,
and
like, do
Super Gandalf,
anything.
And both fought heroes like Thor and Wonder Woman.
Right, the victor could not be deduced by strength and speed alone. Rather, it depended on how their abilities countered each other. In that
Yeah,
regard,
this is
Apocalypse
it's
held many
a
advantages.
fine
For
episode.
starters,
I
he
just
could one-up the living lightning.
I don't know.
For
Maybe
almost
it's
any power
burnout
Black
from watching
Adam
so
had,
many of these, but I
Apocalypse
just
had a
feel like
better
it kind of
version
gets
of it, and
lost
then
in
some.
the
Frankly, half of
in
Black
the
Adam's
sea of
pantheon granted him abilities that
flying
Apocalypse
brick
possessed through
fights.
his mutant genes alone, notwithstanding all his other abilities from
Although,
Celestial
like I
Tech,
said
the
before, I do
Technorganic
like
virus,
the,
and the Death Seed.
Well,
the
Black
fourth
Adam
wall
did
breaking
have
stuff,
something
like the
Apocalypse
intro
didn't.
with the
The
comic book
wisdom of
panels
Sahudi,
and the
his brain
camera
could
breaking at the
definitely
end.
clue
Those are
him in on
cool.
that Death Seed stuff.
And without a Death Seed, Apocalypse would not have fared nearly as well against Black Adam's strength and tenacity.
So to win, Black Adam would have needed to figure out how to destroy the Death Seed, but Apocalypse could defend against that and had way more options for his own victory.
His telepathy got the best of Jean Grey.
Yeah.
There's no reason Apocalypse couldn't mind
Yeah.
read Black Adam.
I'll
The
give
courage
you
of the
a
Head may
little
have
spoiler.
safeguarded him from mental attacks,
Season
but
10
it never made him
is
immune to telepathy
af-
outright.
after
But
the
most
season 10
importantly,
is really
Apocalypse
good,
could absorb all
but
of
the
Black Adam's energy
weakest
powers
episodes in
and
that
turn him right back
season
around.
The living
are the
lightning
Marvel
may be
versus DC
enchanted, but it
episodes.
is still lightning. Its frequently displayed properties of ionized energy. Thus, there's no reason Apocalypse couldn't absorb it for himself. Plus, it's been shared between people many times before, and the more it's given to other hosts, the weaker the original bearer becomes. Hell, stealing the power of the living lightning is how Teth Adam became Black Adam in the first place, so Apocalypse could do the same.
By slurping up Black Adam's magic, Apocalypse grew in power while Black Adam got weaker. It was only a matter of time before Black Adam was literally helpless against the end of all things.
Black Adam may have been power
The
incarnate,
duct tape.
but Apocalypse's wide array of powers and specific counters to the living lightning meant he could rise to the challenge.
Teth thought he had him until Noor gave him the boot.
The winner is Apocalypse. Thank you for watching.
All right,
Stay
so that
tuned. We'll be
was
jumping into the
just
next matchup
okay.
next week. But you can always get more
But
Death Battle right now
next-
by clicking one of those boxes
next
right over
is
there,
one
and by downloading the battle
I'm
music linked down
really
below.
excited for. So, Trunks versus
This
Silver
episode is sponsored by Bespoke
was a
Host.
matchup that I had personally wanted for like forever, since like season 2. But, you know, after a while, you know,
Trunks Briefs, time cop of the Dragon Ball Xenoverse.
Dragon Ball
Silver
Super
the
rolled
Hedgehog,
around,
secret freedom
and that
fighter
made
from
Trunks
Cartoon Sonic.
While
way
these two
stronger
temporal warriors may be
than
well
Game
known,
Silver.
today we're looking at their counterparts from alternate universes.
He's with
So their
my
solution
And
is
it's
to
our job
use
analyze their weapons, armor, and
Xenoverse
skill to
Trunks
find out who would
with the
win a
from the
death
Dragon
battle.
Ball like expanded multiverse versus Archie Silver,
Everyone knows Trunks is the coolest
which
Dragon Ball
goes so
character.
hard.
Lie, when he showed up to prove Goku wasn't the only Super Saiyan around, you popped a Shenron in your pants.
After witnessing his entire world slaughtered by a deadly
Again,
android
they're-
duo
they're
and using his mother's
more
time
used to
machine hop
using
the past to
alternate
make things
universe
right,
versions of
Trunks made his
characters.
triumphant return to his own time period.
And like Silver
But
is
for this
explicitly
version of
based on Trunks.
that's where
Like,
things
come
start
on.
to get a bit different when he was intercepted by this JoJo posing fairy chick.
the Supreme Kai of Time, Cronoa. She watches over all of time in the Dragon Ball universe and was forced to arrest Trunks for his alterations to multiple timelines.
Welcome to the world of Disney's Loki. Oh, sorry, Dragon Ball Heroes. An alternate universe. No, Xenoverse, where every Dragon Ball story has its own canon timeline. It's kinda like if some nerd's weird DBZ fanfiction became totally official. and it rocks.
Unlike his more well-known counterpart, this Trunks was made to atone for his crimes against time by joining Cronoa's secret enforcers, the Time Patrol.
They
I'll give you
include
one
a
try
reference to
guess what
Tyler the
Time
Great
Patrol
Warrior
does.
in
But
the
hey, even
side
if it
thing.
wasn't on his to-do list for the week, Trunks is the perfect guy to protect the whole multiverse.
Tyler the Great
he has
Warrior.
the usual collection of the Saiyans' key powers, but also a magic sword straight from the hero of time. No, not him. Not him. That guy, yeah.
Even with the differing timelines, it's heavily implied this Trunks has lived all the way through some variation of the Goku Black Saga. Therefore, he possesses all powers the original Trunks has, including the ability to assume the golden form of the Super Saiyan.
And gathering ki from other life forms to make this ultra huge laser sword.
However, he has
Yeah,
also
his name is
performed a
Trunks
divine
Briefs.
ritual to unlock godly
He's named
ki
after
within
underwear.
himself, taking on the incredible red visage of a Super Saiyan
And yet
god.
he's still
God
cool.
power sure does come in handy when he's fighting literal demons, like when these weirdos revive Mechikabura, the ruler of the demon realm, causing all sorts of time breaks across the Xenoverse. It's kind of a mess. Lucky for us, Jocelyn's even nerdier than Wiz. What useless knowledge have you got for us today?
Come on, dude. Knowledge is never useless. Okay, so all the major timelines in Dragon Ball Heroes are recorded in tomes called the Scrolls of Eternity. Anytime somebody hopscotches through time, another one of these scrolls poofs into existence. There's just one teensy little problem. There can only be so many scrolls. Once you hit the limit, surprise, you just triggered Cosmic Armageddon. And that's not even counting all the lesser timelines branching off the main ones Trunks and co have to keep track of. Anyway, Trunks and the Time Patrol are some of the only peeps who can time warp without causing these distortions, thanks to unique devices like this armband.
Though sometimes a patrolman gets ballsy and tries to mess with time themselves, like when Silas tried to rewrite Dragon Ball Heroes, both the world and the game. Oh yeah, did we mention that? The universe is an arcade game in its own universe.
Yes and no. In the far-off future
This is
of
so
the
cool.
Xenoverse, the Dragon Ball Heroes arcade game essentially serves as another method of time travel, allowing future warriors to visit iconic moments in the past.
So much for preventing the
Sort of,
Ragnarok
yeah.
of the multiverse or whatever.
That's where those lesser time branches come in. They don't count. Just because.
These machines also send an avatar of the player back in time, complete with an assortment of collectible cards that can summon facsimiles of well-known characters.
That's right. Super Saiyan 4 Goku is a rare reverse holo now.
Trunks himself is an avid fan, along with his disciples Beat and Note. Fun fact, Beat is a descendant of GT Goku.
Trunks even funded a dual disc style hero switch so he can use his cards on the go. And you thought Trunks was cool before he went full Seto Kaiba. Hell, he somehow made the Great Saiyaman look badass.
He could
That's
like
how you put polish on
he
disappointment.
plays the
And I thought
arcade
that
game
was
that
pretty
he is
damn impossible.
from.
All
Like
these
we
powers, gadgets, and cards certainly came in handy
It's
against
so
foes like
fun.
Mechikabura, but they weren't always enough. Even Super Saiyan 4 Vegito had trouble fighting the Demon King, who created a black hole to consume every timeline in the multiverse.
Until Trunks broke out the ultimate Deus Ex Machina, the Key Sword. No, not that one. That one, yeah. This epic blade isn't just a sword. It can completely shut down an opponent's powers. And thanks to being powered by Pinky over there, it can summon the power of the Eternal Time Labyrinth. Which is just really fun to say.
Well, even more fun, it traps targets in the crack of time, a bubble of reality outside all timelines with windows into others. And the Key Sword was powerful enough to finish off Mechikabura in a single strike.
Obviously, this puts Xeno Trunks in the upper echelons of Dragon Ball power levels, even eclipsing the main timeline's Goku, who could destroy the universe
Hey,
up
and
to
there's
13 times
the
over when he
universe
first
clash
channeled
feat.
Super Saiyan God.
The same Goku who could push
yeah,
through its time
expanded
space
Dragon
and
Ball
fly
lore
from
is
Grand Kai's planet to
very
hell
stupid.
in less than a minute.
Considering the distance between these two realms as displayed in this canon visual model, that would require speeds over 29 quintillion times faster than light.
And that was even before going God, let alone getting training from Whiskey.
Whis and many of Trunks' patrol buddies are just as impressive. Like you! Well, the you who battled Demigra in the Xenoverse game when he had control over all time and space, or the you who fought the demon Shamel who threatened the whole multiverse. You are technically a canon character in Dragon Ball. Congrats, I guess. Maybe now you can throw that Kamehameha for real. Oh, come on, you know you want to.
So the bad guys better watch out, cause Trunks and his time cops will always be there to stop them and protect time itself.
Look, it's so cool.
It's the year
It's so stupid, but it's so cool.
XE. The world of Mobius has entered an era
Anyway,
of darkness.
more Archie
This
Sonic
savage
stuff.
future has been ravaged by unending fires, giant monsters, ecological disasters, and general dystopia of all kinds. But standing against this harsh and bleak reality is a lone hero. A young hedgehog with silver quills named, Silver.
So, yeah, comic book Silver doesn't sound too different from the one in the video games, right? Don't count on it. This is the same comic where all the tales in the multiverse fused together into this monstrosity. So strap in for a wild ride.
With no family to speak of, Silver was taken in by the last elders of his damaged world, including the immortal Wizard of Chaos, Mammoth Mogul.
Silver's goal was to become a Knight of Cronus, a time-traveling warrior who could save the future by changing the past.
Silver's base abilities include super strength and super speed, though not quite at the same level as those of Knuckles or Sonic, respectively.
Well, that's okay, because he's got his own special weapon, Mind Bullets.
And more, a lot more. Silver possesses the rare power of psychokinesis, allowing him to move himself or other objects around with just his thoughts. He can move anything from rocks to skyscrapers to entire mountains.
But that's not all he's got up his sleeves. Gloves. He always keeps a warp ring on hand.
I think
a size
Bryce
shifting power
Papenbrook
ring that can teleport him
is
anywhere he
his
likes,
like
even
voice
other
actor
dimensions.
now.
And he can access
'Cause
the
he voiced
insight,
him in,
resistances to corruption, and
did he
power
voice him in
boosts many other
Forces?
Mobians can attain with usual power rings.
Or was
With all
that
this,
Quentin
he was a
Flynn?
shoo-in for school with the woolly mammoth mage. Thanks to
Can't
Mogul,
remember.
Silver got to learn about 2 other magic abilities he'd soon master. First up, Chaos Control! The magic Mogul pioneered himself centuries ago. This is the stuff Sonic and friends used to shoot pew-pews and turn into super not Saiyans.
Then Mogul discovered another magic,
Oh.
Cronus Control. With this, Silver can move through time with very little effort, made even easier thanks to his time
You
stone,
did
a
you?
gem that governs time itself.
After doing tons of research, Rose, Sylvie, and Mogul discovered that their shitty lives could all be blamed on just one person. Apparently, one of Sonic's own freedom fighters turned traitor and ruined everything. What a twist! So Silver set off with a full arsenal to baby Thanos that bastard.
Only one problem. The Archie Sonic multiverse is complicated. Hell,
Oh, yeah.
complicated barely even cuts it. Jocelyn, how about you take this one?
Okay, Archie Sonic's multiverse is similar in scope to something like DC Comics, with multiple extra-dimensional layers like the Chaos Force. There are infinite universes with infinite timelines and infinite characters,
Oh, as if Sonic needed more of those.
including the likes of Mega Man, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and Spawn.
Wait, what?
With the Time Stone, Warp Rings, and Cronus Control, no timeline or dimension is out of Silver's reach. Though, like bad sushi mixed with vodka, time hopping this way had some weird side effects, like decoupling Silver from time. So if he causes a real bad butterfly effect, he doesn't get erased like poor Marty McFly. He just has a lot of catching up to do.
Sorry, can you go back to the part about Sonic the Hedgehog meeting Mother Spawn?
Needless to say, Silver had a hard time figuring out exactly what he needed to do.
I mean, even if it was more straightforward, he's not exactly the sharpest quill on the hog.
Good thing Archie Silver is way more badass than he was in the video games. He's fought all sorts of epic baddies across time and space, like Darth Knuckles,
Enerjack.
Gesundheit, who stole the souls of every Mobian in the world. This guy threw a whole continent at our weed-haired hedgehog. Despite fighting a literal dark god with far more power, Silver won the day by turning evil Knux's own attacks right back at him.
Not too surprising. Silver's psychic powers on their own are strong enough to teleport instantly, disrupt any technology, close tears in reality, and stop time from being pulled out of him.
Also, according to
What?
the Archie Sonic Comic Encyclopedia, Silver still experienced some version of the events of the Sonic 06 video game. You know, everyone's favorite.
Including the battle against Solaris, who could eat time, where Silver achieved the invulnerable form of Super Silver.
He gets a major boost to match the speed and power of Super Sonic. As Sonic Man, without this supersonic energy, Sonic was already fast enough to outspeed stopped time. Let me say that again. time was frozen and Sonic could still
This
move.
is so
What the
stupid.
hell?
Naturally, Supersonic and Super Silver should both be faster than this. But as calculating speed requires a factor of time, and this feat removes time from the equation entirely, this means Super Silver's speed is incalculable. His speed is faster than time itself permits speed to be.
That's stupid.
That's Archie Sonic.
Hardly a Superform's most impressive feat, though. There have been a few occasions where the Archie-Sonic multiverse has been completely demolished and restored, and each one used the same chaos power Super Silver possesses. The most notable, of course, was when Supersonic teamed up with Super Mega Man to counter the Super Genesis wave.
Which completely rewrote all of time and space.
Luckily, despite being right at ground zero,
God,
the
Archie
Superforms
Sonic
were
is
immune
so
to the Super Genesis
stupid.
wave's reality warping power, giving Sonic and Mega Man the time they needed to save the entire multiverse.
Oh no, what about...
Yes, even Spawn.
Oh, thanks, Satan.
But even in this brave new world, Silver was nothing short of a hero.
As long as this dorky hedgehog is around to keep up the good fight, even the darkest timeline will have a silver lining. This episode is sponsored...
I do not care about bespoke post.
Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle through time.
Anyway, fight time.
Stop! You're under arrest for unsanctioned time travel. Seriously? This is what I do.
So yeah, that's totally Bryce Papenbrook voicing Silver. And Scott Kaiserneko Frerix as Trunks, because Team 4-Star. Of course, he does a very good job.
You see? It's no use! Rip off. Ah, crap baskets.
Yeah, I mean, they had to sneak the line there.
Come on, give me a good pull. Good enough.
He got a bad gotcha pull. So sad. So good.
Now to shut you down for good! Chrono Tensei! Eternal Time Labyrinth!
I don't think we're in Mobius anymore.
This is it, Time Hawk! The end of your future!
I told you. It's no use.
God, that fight's so good.
Trunks is way past cooler than furry Kyle Reese.
It is hard to imagine Trunks losing to anyone. However, Silver ironically had just about everything he needed to put the Saiyan 6
so
under.
good. I'm so glad that a matchup that I had wanted for so long got a good episode.
Like the hero switch and the time travel armband, leaving Trunks without his gadgets and primary method of hopping through time.
Let's be frank, in base form, Silver never stood a chance at matching Trunks with his own power. Even in his super form, it's questionable whether or not Super Silver had the physical ability to match Super Saiyan Trunks. In short, it's practically impossible to lock down exact numbers and limits for their power levels.
So Trunks could have
Yeah, a lot of the effects on the beam attacks. There's a part where Trunks shoots that giant beam after going Super Saiyan God. You see it like turn green and then turn back to red, which is meant to imply that Silver tried like redirecting it, but he couldn't. And it's so cool.
Faster than light, maybe even more. However, by the very nature of Dragon Ball powers, his speed must have a limit, even if it is impossible to know an exact number given what we've seen.
But Archie's super forms have consistently shown incalculable speeds. Sure, Goku broke through Hit's time skip, but that actually has nothing to do with speed.
As explained by Whis,
yeah,
the
a lot of
time manipulation in the world of Dragon Ball
as they are explaining here, plenty of
the caster and their target, such as when
anime
Krillin
nonsense.
attempted a time stop on Mira and failed due to Mira's energy being stronger. Xeno vs. Goku has also mentioned how increasing his energy affects space and time around him.
In any other matchup, this would be totally buck wild itself. But no, Archie super forms just have to break time itself.
It's also difficult to put an exact number on Trunks' maximum level of power. The strongest beings in his continuity can affect his entire multiverse, which has infinite timelines plus the track of time
it was sort of a flying brick fight, but these were some cool flying bricks.
Supersonic can rewrite the infinite timelines in Archie Sonic's multiverse, plus the extra-dimensional realms outside, like the Chaos Force, Pocket Zones, Mega Man's own infinite universe, and yes, possibly even a multiverse with Spawn. The scope of Dragon Ball's cosmic scale simply does not compare.
Plus, unlike Sonic, Silver spent many years being trained how to use chaos magic by the guy who invented it. Hell, if Mega Man could rewrite reality just minutes after learning he could even use the Chaos Emeralds at all, imagine what craziness Silver could pull off.
Trunks' best chance was the Key Sword's ability to nullify powers, like it did to Mechikabura. However, the Super Genesis Wave explicitly could not rewrite the presence of Super Sonic or Super Mega Man.
They're also going very in depth with some of these conclusions, because some of them need it.
Could resist the Key Sword, at least for a time. Ultimately, while there are many versions of this battle where Trunks can win, Silver's superior abilities close out a victory more often than not.
To make things brief, Silver was just hogging the spotlight.
The winner is Silver the Hedgehog. Hey, if you want more
it's a little chain that wraps
why not
around
grab
them.
a membership? You'll get exclusive emotes, badges, live chat, live streams, and a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff. Just click that join button. Thanks for watching.
Alright, and this next one will be our last one for the night. But it's, I think it's a good one to end off on. Sponging out is an important part of growing up. Why don't you read a fucking book?
SpongeBob SquarePants, Nickelodeon's #1 nautical nincompoop.
Aquaman, the thalassic third wheel of the Super Friends. Thalassic means ocean. I looked it up.
The infinite ink black depths of the seven seas are
I
home
mean,
to
yeah,
any
it's
number of
SpongeBob.
terrifying,
How could it not be
awe-inspiring
great?
creatures.
They're also home to these two losers. Though when it comes to cartoon characters, there's always more hidden beneath the waves. That's right, we're prioritizing the cartoons for maximum Toon Force shenanigans. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. The year was 1946. The former allies of World War II were engaged in a Cold War between capitalist West and communist East.
The United States changed history forever with the introduction of the atomic bomb, a weapon of unparalleled nuclear devastation.
One of their most popular test spots, the site of 23 separate detonations over the course of 12 years for a total fission yield of 42.2 megatons, was Bikini Atoll in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
The results were ecological devastation, and perhaps something more. Deep beneath the atoll, the fauna began to change. They evolved, becoming sentient, forming language, technology, and society. This Bikini Bottom organized into a monarchy under the god King Neptune. It developed a free market economy and a thriving artistic culture.
Even the simplest
I do like how
creatures became
this is
capable
technically a
of
fan
complex
theory, I
thought,
think,
including
about the
very
atomic
first
bomb thing. Yeah,
multicellular
they mentioned
organism
that.
to be categorized as part of the animal kingdom, the sea sponge.
And one sponge in particular, the greatest among them, lives in a pineapple under the sea. Oh!
SpongeBob SquarePants.
No, I wanted to sing this song.
I don't know about greatest. SpongeBob may headline one of the most popular children's cartoons of all time, but he's a total dork. He's a painfully naive man-child whose only ambition in life is to continue his minimum
don't be
wage
mean
job
to him.
as a fry cook at the Krusty Krab.
Really sounding like a Squidward there, Wiz, and no one wants to be a Squidward. Sponge Robert might not have the flashiest life, but he's happy, and that's what matters, ain't it?
Not in Death Battle, it doesn't.
How do we tell
SpongeBob
him?
is routinely physically incapable of even the most
In Battle for
basic
Bikini
tasks,
Bottom,
almost
SpongeBob
like
replenishes health by
anti-Toon
finding
Force.
clean
He's the
underwear.
biggest wimp
This
in town,
implies that
like
he
the time
shits
failed to
himself
lift a
every
glass of
time he
lemonade,
takes
or the time a
damage.
school bully gave him diarrhea, or the time he effortlessly rotated the entire planet. Huh.
Oh, we're in for some shit now, aren't we? Despite being a real sea creature, SpongeBob is more like a kitchen sponge. Absorbent and yellow and porous is he, after all. He can stretch and shapeshift his body any way he likes, duplicate himself through asexual reproduction, and absorb immense amounts of liquid. Wouldn't he always be full, though?
From an entire lagoon to... oh god, enough water to replace the moon?
Oh, and for some reason he has an insane healing factor. He survived being torn in half, vaporized, having his soul removed from his body, and literally being unraveled out of existence. Okay, I think we're good. We
Goofy
can just,
Goober
end
Rock
the rundown
is
here.
part of his powers.
I need to see how deep this rabbit hole goes. Perhaps his most mind-bending ability is his control over... bubbles. No, stay with me. This is unbelievable. Like a soapy green lantern ring, his bubbles can become anything he wishes, from guided cruise missiles to sentient life and entire bubble societies. That's a pretty similar effect to his magic pencil, which can draw anything he wants into existence and erase it from reality just as easily. The pencil was so powerful, SpongeBob sent it back to the surface where it belonged. But in later seasons, he still just has it for some reason.
And finished. I call him Doodle Whiz. Whiz, he's just like you, but I made him with a pencil.
I'm calling the police.
Even the mundane becomes godlike in SpongeBob's yellow hands, like his reef blower, which hoovered up the entirety of Earth's oceans in seconds and then exploded on top of SpongeBob all at once.
It's estimated the entire mass of Earth's oceans is about 1.5
Look, this is
quintillion
ridiculous.
tons. Considering all the water refilled the planet in about 1 second, that'd be a kinetic energy of over 6,000 yotatons.
That's enough energy to nuke Jupiter 13 times over.
Holy
and
shit.
SpongeBob was completely unharmed.
His hydrodynamic spatula isn't just an impromptu bladed weapon, it's also his primary instrument to create the greatest foodstuff
His
Bikini Bottom has
karate
ever seen,
gear.
the Krabby Patty.
A burger so delicious, it's basically magic. Not only is it totally addictive, SpongeBob was romantically attracted to one. It can nullify mind control, heal wounds, and even detonate.
SpongeBob has survived nukes point blank, hugged his best friend Patrick so hard their DNA fused, can ride on the scene transitions, and once cried so hard he flooded Bikini Bottom, even though it's already underwater. Shit, he once grabbed a hold of this mysterious string and unraveled the entire universe. He literally undid the fabric of reality in seconds. What the fuck?
What was that you were saying about anti-Toon Force?
I'm sorry. I'm not sure I've ever misjudged a character as severely as SpongeBob SquarePants.
Nice character arc there, Wiz. Unfortunately for Roberto, the rest of the town only saw the goofy goober on the outside. It took more than one adventure to prove himself to be a real hero. You think he ever banged that squirrel?
He's crushed Plankton's Plan Z, won the Battle of Bikini Bottom against an army of killer robots, and even teamed up with fellow Nickelodeon stars Timmy Turner, Jimmy Neutron, and Danny Phantom to save the Nicktoons multiverse.
His biggest weakness is that he's a giant, suicidally naive idiot.
And depending on the humidity of the atmosphere around him,
Want to see him do it again?
Can dehydrate and permanently incapacitate him.
Oh, also seasonal rot. Those first 3 seasons are pure gold, but after that, oh boy. There's this one episode called Squid Baby where Squidward gets brain damaged into a giant baby and shits himself on screen.
What are you talking about?
Oh, right. Trials and tribulations and Hasselhoffs aside, it wasn't until SpongeBob accepted himself for who he was that he was rewarded with the greatest boon of all. Middle management!
So if nautical nonsense be something you wish, then pray to your yellow porous god for mercy, because his whimsical laughter is the last thing you'll ever hear.
And now,
Aquaman, king of the seven
the other
seas.
half of the
We've
equation.
covered Arthur Curry on the show before, and he's actually secretly awesome.
That's right, Boomstick. But the version we're dealing
And he
with
said
today
the
is from
line.
bargain bin
That's
cartoons
right,
from the 60s
Boomstick.
and 70s.
Now, you might assume that means this Aquaman is a total loser, but really, have you watched all those cartoons?
Remember, this is from the era when Superman was sneezing solar systems apart, so get ready.
Art's origin is basically the same as the Silver Age comics. Tom Curry was a humble lighthouse keeper who decided one day to fuck a fish.
He did not do that. He procreated with Atlanta, an Atlantean from the underwater city of Poseidonus, and from their union, Arthur Curry was born with magnificent aquatic abilities.
And he's the king of Atlantis, too!
Oh, wait, no, it says here that was introduced in the comics later. Here he's just some guy with magnificent aquatic abilities and a giant mutant seahorse that neighs just like a land horse.
This Aquaman comes from a time when everybody who's anybody had their own secret cave with assorted gadgets. He's got an underwater jet ski, a net, octopus ink, a water pistol, and a portable heat ray to blast right through solid ice. Not exactly mind-blowing, but you know, I'm sure we're ramping up.
We sure are. Aquaman's hybrid human Atlantean biology grants him superhuman strength and the ability to breathe underwater indefinitely and withstand the crushing depths of the ocean floor.
The pressure at the bottom of the Mariana Trench is 16,000 pounds per square inch. That's like being stepped on by 100 elephants. Which is a lot, I guess.
Aquaman is also an incredible swimmer, able to travel from Florida to Maine in under an hour. That's almost twice the speed of sound. He can create water balls and whirlpools out of thin water, and fittingly, water-based attacks are completely ineffective against him. And of course, you can't forget his aquatic telepathy.
He can talk to fish, and he can even control people's minds and give them seizures, right?
Oh, actually, that second part is also just from the comics. Cartoon Aquaman can talk to fish, which is awesome. His telepathy can reach several miles, summon hundreds of sea creatures at once, and works on anything from microscopic organisms to alien life, as long as it's aquatic alien life, of course.
But he can still mind control them, right?
Kind of. He can free them from mind control and even influence their emotional state to some degree, but besides that, there have been times when sea creatures have just ignored his commands outright.
Wiz, I'm gonna be straight with you. You haven't said anything remotely mind-blowing yet. Does this Aquaman actually suck?
Hold your seahorses. Aquaman's exploits were so world-renowned, he banded together with Earth's mightiest heroes to form a team capable of defending the planet, nay, the universe, from any threat. The Super Friends.
The Super Friends? They're like the dime store knockoff version of the Justice League.
What? No. You've got heavy hitters like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman.
Keep going.
Flash, Green Lantern. Apache Chief, Samurai, Black Vulcan, the Wonder Twins, and their pet monkey Gleek.
Wiz, stop. You're embarrassing yourself.
No, wait. His best direct strength feat was when he, moved some trash. About 50 metric tons of it. Fuck.
The jokes write themselves,
This is such a good bit.
Aquaman once enrolled in an American college under the name Mr. Waterman. So we're working with a pretty hefty IQ here, huh?
Okay, so he's lame, inarguably completely lame. I was convinced I'd find some crazy, insane Popeye punching out the animator feat somewhere, but no, he sucks. He actually sucks. His best feat is literally garbage.
I'll take over from here, Wiz. Aquaman is a bit of a joke, sure, but he's not completely useless. He's dodged laser beams, defeated a living Titanic by luring it into an iceberg. Seriously, and beaten this water elemental Undyne, who looks like
from
a gorilla
Undertale?
by summoning seagulls to pelt her with clamshells. He once even outswam this Kryptonian pterodactyl monster, Rokan, who flew from the edge of the galaxy to Earth in about 15 seconds.
Wait, really? Okay, now we're talking. That'd be over 55 billion times the speed of light. And Aquaman's swimming clearly outmatched that. It doesn't matter if it looks lame.
You get one, buddy.
Hey, he
Yay.
could probably kick your ass, person that's watching at home, so that's something.
Yeah,
Well,
he
not
probably
if he's
could.
on dry land. If he's out of the water for even 1 hour, he dies. Never mind, person watching at home, just hide for a bit, grab some lunch,
JoJo
and then,
reference.
stomp on his corpse.
But is raw power really what makes someone a hero? Or is it the drive to help others, to be of service, to sacrifice? That's what a hero is to me, and I'd say Aquaman's got as much of that as there are
I
drops
will
of
sing
water
my
in
song
the
about
ocean.
Wonder Woman. Look at him go.
He's about to die.
Yeah.
This episode of
If
Death
you're
Battle
like
is sponsored by
Aquaman and
Mint
need
Mobile.
therapy,
After years of fine print
try
contracts and getting
BetterHelp.
ripped, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibility. One possibility.
It's time for Aquaman's funeral!
Yeah, let's get this done.
Mermaid Man? Wait a second, you're not Mermaid Man.
The name's Aquaman, evildoer.
Evildoer? I'm a hero.
I saved this city. There's only one real hero here, Fiend. And he's a super friend.
You see, sir, I'm a sea sponge, phylum porifera, and you can't just... How about a little karate, Waterman?
It's Aquaman! Of course! He's a sea creature. And as the king of the seas, he's mine to command. I wasn't just reaching out to you, Sponge. Let him have it, chums!
Lots of good cartoony stuff this episode.
Great Neptune!
Get a load of this, Seaman!
Damn it, it's Need water. Powers fading. Is there nothing I could do? My man. I see it now. A multiverse of Aquaman. And out of all of them, I'm the lamest fucking one! I'm a ripoff. A joke. I'm no superhero.
People used to say the same kind of things about me. Goofball, wingnut, knucklehead McSpazatron. But every day, I get back up and say 2 words. I'm ready.
May the best hero win. What?
Got his arm, no!
The other side of the universe.
Don't cry, Sponge. Let's be super.
Ocean Man. Oh man, this one's great.
Ridiculously OP nautical-themed cartoon characters on this show.
I
Wiz.
would almost argue it relies a bit too much on references to
Obviously,
SpongeBob
Aquaman didn't have a snowball's
and
chance
its
in hell in defeating this
style
little
of
spongy
humor,
bastard.
but I don't really care that much. It's awesome.
SpongeBob could basically do anything he wanted. There was no way
They even gave Aquaman
totally
like some
overwhelmed,
benefits. Like he
especially
doesn't.
with his much
This
more
version of
limited arsenal.
Aquaman doesn't
I
have a
can't
cool
think of a more
trident, and I don't think he
lopsided
could do the
matchup than
thing
someone
where
whose
he
main attack is
creates a
throwing water
whirlpool with the
against
whole
the
ocean.
sentient sea sponge.
But it's
Aquaman's
cool.
only
I don't
potential
care.
option was his telepathy, but as we've covered, it's far less powerful than his common
Yeah, season
counterpart.
9 is
There's
about
no
narrative.
reason to believe SpongeBob
I didn't
wouldn't
expect
just
these
ignore
SpongeBob
Arthur's
episodes to
commands.
have emotional impact,
Straight up
but
mind
here we
control.
are.
SpongeBob's Krabby Patties straight up cancel mind control.
And really, nothing Aquaman had could overcome Bob's utterly broken regeneration.
The little yellow dude has survived being completely disintegrated into dust and even erased from reality. All
Bob Le
Aquaman
Ponge.
can do is punch kind of hard, and even that's basically useless against Bob's squishy body.
Maybe Aquaman could have found a way to dehydrate SpongeBob enough to keep him permanently incapacitated, like when he and Patrick were trapped in Shell City.
But that would require the fight to take place out of the water, which messes Aquaman up way harder than it does SpongeBob. And it also require the fight doesn't instantly end up with SpongeBob karate chopping Aquaman at 10 shit zillion times the speed of light, splattering his atoms against Saturn. Cause yeah, remember when SpongeBob unraveled the universe? Considering the...
No, I'm sorry, I need to do this one. This is fucking insane. Compared to SpongeBob's size, the string's width
And
is
I
about
love
192
Wiz's character in this
micrometers.
episode.
We can use that to find the volume of, say, 1 meter of string and compare that to the volume of the entire observable universe. Considering it took SpongeBob about 5 seconds, he would have had to be pulling at 8.2 times 10 to the 78th power times faster than light.
That's as many times faster than light as there are atoms in the universe.
This is the fastest calculable speed feat in our show's history. And it belongs to SpongeBob SquarePants.
But do you think he could take on comic book Aquaman?
Have you been listening to anything I've been saying?
Good point, because let's not forget.
Of course I didn't forget.
That string feat also destroyed the entire universe. And stuff like that is actually consistent.
SpongeBob is literally aware of the fourth wall and has rewritten the plot of his own story as he's living it. Screw the pencil or the bubbles. He can just will whatever he wants into existence from his imagination. He's a god, a yellow, spongy god of death.
I love him.
And that's why he beats Goku.
At least Arthur finally got to be a real hero. And at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Yeah, sure, whatever, pal. He's dead. Too bad for the King of the Seas. That sure was one sweet victory.
The winner is SpongeBob SquarePants, our god.
Hell
Thank
yeah.
you for watching.
That's
Stay
gonna be the
tuned.
last
We'll be jumping
one
into the
for
next
tonight.
matchup next week. But
Only
you can
6
always get
episodes
more
this
Death Battle
stream,
right
but next
now
time
by
we come
clicking
back
one of
Death
those
Battle,
boxes
we'll be
right
back
over
to
there,
7,
and by downloading
and we'll
the
be
Battle
finishing
Music
up Season
linked down
9.
below.
Next up is the annual Halloween episode. Finally doing Jason Voorhees versus Michael Myers. But yeah, before we leave, let's do our usual. Let's slap some shit on here. This one was okay. This one was also okay. This one's great. This one's great. These two are both pretty good. And I'll put you probably here. That seems good to me. All right, we're very close to the end of this. Wow. It's been a long road to get here. But yeah, that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you so very much for coming down. I hope you enjoyed. Here's to more Death Battle and however much money they've made so far. Woohoo. But yeah, hope you all have a great rest of your night. Take care. Bye-bye.